So I can imagine over the past few months, been pretty busy in your specialist sector.
It has been busy since March. Since furlough was announced, us lawyers got our head around furlough, and the government kept putting out more information, more information. And when we finally get our head around furlough and how it works, and we're advising people, then comes the job support scheme.
Yes.
And it was all announced a little while back on 24th of September. And then on Thursday last week, the Chancellor announced further changes and further information for the scheme.
And I'm
So
sure
us
there'll be
lawyers
more
have
changes
literally
to
had
come.
24 hours.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there'll be more changes to come. So the furlough actually meant that the government would pay 80% of the salary and the employer would pay 20%, and that was down to their discretion should they wish to pay and or should they not wish to pay. But the government was going to take 80%, and reports that suggest that potentially 10 million jobs were protected in that way. Is that correct?
That's correct. So furlough started off with 80% where the government pays, and then national insurance contributions as well. And the employer's contributions. That then scaled down. So we had the part-time flexible furlough. So when it went to 70, and now in October it was 60% up to a cap of 1,000. So right now it's 60% with a cap of 1,875. The employer is paying the contributions of national insurance, and then the employer can top it uh, up to. So the employer tops it up to 80%. So the employee is always taking away
Yeah.
80%,
Yes.
except the difference with furlough as they've scaled it down was that the employer is contributing gradually more because people are coming back to work part time or having a
Now,
flexible
obviously, with
arrangement.
the employers being expected to contribute more, and the imminent threat of lockdown, business is quiet as it is anyway. And with this imminent threat looming over our heads of tier three lockdown or a complete national lockdown, what sort of trends are you seeing with employers? What's been the common issue?
So the common issue has been there is some panic about, and I can understand why, about what is going to happen because in some sectors you haven't got the footfall of customers. For example, take retail. I went into town yesterday on a Saturday. On a Saturday, the car parks are always full. There's a lot of footfall. It was significantly reduced, so people aren't venturing out as the way they did. With food outlets, they are closing early, obviously at 10 o'clock. So, Fridays, Saturdays, weekends are the busiest time. So the fact that business have to, they have to close by a certain period, they aren't getting the customers and their revenue. Clearly, there's a dip in
There's
their
got to be
revenue.
a strain on employers, obviously, because they've been asked to contribute more and more and more. The strain must be on the on the employees as well, because they haven't got job security. But the strain on employers must be immense.
It is because what employers are doing is they're sort of trying to survive, and the furlough scheme, the job retention scheme, as it's known as, came as a bit of a saving grace for a lot of businesses because it allows the wages, because the biggest overhead is salaries, and it allowed the salaries to be subsidised. But unfortunately, what we are finding is that despite the job retention scheme, and now with the retention scheme coming to an end, and with the job support scheme, businesses can't. They're struggling to survive. I mean, I know, and it's common knowledge now that a big hotel chain down by the NEC, and I've had some dealings with their management, and they've said, "Look, Neelam, we just haven't got the footfall. Bookings. People aren't booking hotels. They're not going away. They're not feeling comfortable to go away. Also, if you think about tourism that's coming in, for example, London, Birmingham, Manchester, people aren't coming in, so they're not using the hotel, the hospitality sector, the leisure sector. Gyms, I went to the gym. That's still very quiet. I'm
Yes.
still finding that very, very quiet.
We had a chap on last week who deals with insolvency, and he was mentioning that he's been dealing with quite a few gyms that are actually now closing down.